What's going on, guys? Today I've got one that I'm really excited to do. This is going to be both a video showcasing a couple of recent pickups and then also a couple of recent grading submissions that have come back both from SGC and PSA. So we're going to start with the cards that came back from PSA. There are two of them, and then we'll get into the SGC sub and then a couple at the bottom that either were just like straight up pickups, they were already graded, or ones that need a little bit of a longer explanation. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started with the PSA sub. This was a PSA Express submission. If you haven't submitted with PSA recently, Express is actually pretty impressive. Don't get me wrong, it's expensive, so it should be impressive, but you're going to get these cards back really, really fast. So here is the first one. This is out of the 2019 Select, first off the line, numbered out of 11, if you can see that down there. And this is the orange Pulsar, the field level KYLER Murray. I've got to tilt it kind of in an odd direction to get rid of the glare, but this is a beautiful, beautiful card. Field level, like I said, first off the line, exclusive, numbered to 11, PSA 9. This was actually bought by me as a BGS 9. And when I initially bought it, I knew that I was going to have to resub it because there was a massive crack like right here in the plastic, right over the like the metal with the grade on it in the BGS slab. So I knew that I was going to have to resub it anyway. Was really happy to get a 9. I thought when I first bought it in the slab that there would be a chance at a 10, reason being all of the subgrades were 9.5 except for surface. So you always kind of wonder if that's actually a surface defect or if, the person who submitted the card just like didn't clean it off well enough. But there was definitely some surface stuff back here. So really happy to get a 9. Either way, there was going to be a decent value bump. So really, really happy with this one. All right, let's not drop anything. And then next up is a card that came back in the same PSA order. It was a 2-card submission. This is a Panini Prism UFC Conor McGregor. As you can see, not numbered, but it is a big card. This is the White Sparkle Prism PSA 10. Very, very happy with this one. Picked this one up raw off of eBay. It just looked really, really clean. Submitted it at that express level, like I said, and it came back at 10. This is currently a pop 3, I believe. Was a pop 2 when I got it back, and then there's been one added since then. But I mean, just a really, really pretty card. Love this one. For the right price, it is a card that's for sale because it is a pretty big card, but it's also one that I would be perfectly fine having for a very long time. Conor's my guy, and first year Prism, with this being such a rare variation, this is definitely one that I'm really happy to have, even for the long term, if that ends up being the case. All right, so that does it for the 2-card PSA submission. And then let's get into an SGC sub that we just had come back the other day. This card is definitely the worst of the order. I don't know what happened with this card. I looked it over, and even at $25 a card with SGC, you still want to be very selective. I felt like I really did. I felt like this card looked really good. It got a 9, kind of a bummer. The centering on the front is really good, especially considering just how bad the centering is on a lot of the Prism Silver cards out of the 2020 set. The centering is really good. The surface, everything checked out. Like I said, even though it's only $25 a card, I mean, you still want to be selective. And I don't know, I thought I was on this one. If you guys see something that I was missing, let me know. But I was sure, like, if you told me that I had to bet my life that one card in this 5-card order would come back at 10, it would have probably been this one. I thought this card looked really, really good. But yeah, got the 9. Maybe a card, if it doesn't sell, I'm probably going to lose money on this particular card either way. But if it doesn't sell, I might crack it and just try to, use it as a learning experience and figure out exactly what I missed, because I thought this card looked really, really good. Obviously, it's a Kyra Lewis, so I wouldn't have sent it unless I thought it was going to get a 10. But yeah, bummer, but that's okay. Moving on to some better cards here. This is a 2020 Optic Downtown Aaron Rodgers. This is not my card. This was submitted for a friend of mine who is a huge Aaron Rodgers fan. and this one did really well. 9.5 on this. Again, probably something with the surface. The surfaces on these downtown cards are just really, really tough grades. I mean, all that blank space here just leaves a lot of room for different surface issues. I don't remember seeing anything, but I'm going to assume that that was probably what we got dinged for, because I thought that the corners were great. Centering is a little bit difficult to determine on these cards, but I actually thought it was pretty well centered too. So probably just something with the surface. But again, I didn't see it before submitting it, and I haven't been able to see it, once it was in the slab. So not 100% sure what was going on with that one, but 9.5, not bad at all. Mint plus there. All right, so let's get in. This order really had a little bit of everything, I should say. This is out of the Topps Chrome Sapphire F1 set, Esteban Ocon. If you're not like super deep into F1, you probably won't know who this guy is. He's not really one of the bigger names, I wouldn't say. But if you're into F1, you definitely know who Esteban Ocon is. This is the sitting variation. If this was just the regular base, I probably wouldn't have sent this. But it is a variation, so and it looked really, really clean. So I decided to send this in, and it did get the 10. That glare is killing me. But a really nice card, and I like the variations out of the Topps Chrome Sapphire F1 a lot. So really good looking card. Happy to have that one in an SGC 10. All right, the next card is another F1 card, and this is a pretty big card. The last one I pretty much just submitted because it looked flawless and it was a variation. This card though, this is a decent card. This is the Lando Norris out of Topps Chrome Sapphire. Me and my fiance ripped a box of that, and it was so much fun. This is probably one of the bigger cards that we got that was in good condition. So I think we got a Lando, not the base, it was like the freshest faces or whatever it's called, out of 99, but it was in really, really rough condition. But this is probably the biggest card that we got that was, submission worthy, if you want to call it that, and ended up getting a 10 from SGC. Very, very happy with this one. Yeah. And I can't say enough about how much I love the Sapphire Topps Chrome. I mean, it's just, even the base, which is what this is, it's just a beautiful, beautiful card. So really, really happy to get this back in a 10. All right, next up is the last card in that submission, another Conor McGregor out of 75, if you can see that. This is the neon green parallel. I think it should be called lime green because it is lime green and there is the neon green pulsar, but whatever. It's just a little nitpick. For the longest time, I was searching this card as lime green and nothing was coming up. So yeah, this is the neon green prism. I've heard people mention this before about SGC, but I really like that they put the numbering on the grade up here on the label. I think that's really cool. But yeah, just a really, really clean copy of this card. The centering is really, really good. The reason that I decided to send this to SGC instead of PSA was because it had a little bit of a print line on the back here, and I wasn't sure if SGC would hit that as hard as PSA, and they didn't. So and I don't think that they should. I think that the front of the card is definitely more important, but that was the thought process with sending this card to SGC. And this one is sold. This sold within like 3 hours of me having it back. But just a really, really pretty card. I like that one a lot. All right. So let's get into the last two cards here. These are big boys. This one was just a recent pickup. This was not submitted by me, as you can see in the BGS slab here, but it is a KYLER Murray. It's not numbered, but it is a big one. This is the 2019 Select Cosmic Field Level KYLER Murray 9.5, True Gem, all 9.5s, quad 9.5s on the subs there. Just an unbelievable card. This is one that I want to have for a while. Got this from I guess the best thing to call him would be a KYLER super collector on Instagram. His collection is absolutely unreal. And I noticed that he had this one and also a PSA 10. And I'd been eyeing a field level Cosmic, a KYLER Murray rookie for a long time, and figured I'd make a play for that since he did have the two. And he was willing to work with me, and I think I got it for a very fair price. So I was very happy with this one, and so far this season. If you're watching this video in the future, it's after week 2. I think KYLER has like 8 or 9 touchdowns already this year. So I'm a big believer in him, both as, like a real world quarterback. I think he's going to translate to winning, but also as an investment. I thought he was one of the best investments going into the 2021 season. I thought he was underpriced compared to a lot of the other quarterbacks. So let's get into the last card in the order. And this card is going to require a little bit of an explanation because typically I would not submit a card like this to SGC. This would be PSA all day. But this is out of the 2018 Optic. This is a LUKA Doncic, and this is a massive, massive card. This is the White Sparkle Prism. I mean, this card, again, this is another one that I'm going to have for a long time. Picked this up as a long-term investment. I have no intention of selling this anytime soon. If you're wondering, though, why I would send a card like this to SGC, the reason is really just because I don't plan on moving this anytime soon. And I also wanted to take a crack at getting this card in a Mint 9 slab. This card was a BGS 8.5 previously, and then it was cracked and sold to me raw. You'll see on the front, I mean, the eye appeal is unbelievable. Like, the centering is perfect. You can't see really anything wrong with the card. You really have to go to the back. This corner back here is a little soft, and then there is some factory dimple. There are some factory dimples here along the back, and that's why it was a BGS 8.5. Otherwise, like, the front is just absolutely perfect. Now, let me just, little disclaimer here. This card very likely will end up going to PSA at one point. Very, very likely. But like I said, I have no intention of selling this anytime soon. So I did just want to take a crack at a 9 with, one of the 3 most reputable grading companies, whereas I just didn't think that it had any shot at a 9 if I had sent it to PSA. And it's not necessarily like an SGC grades easier thing. It's more of PSA doesn't have a 9.5. So when PSA evaluates this card, they see that corner and the card instantly goes down to a 9, and then the factory damage on the back. I think that I was looking at an 8, best case scenario, which when I bought the card, I was perfectly fine with an 8 because if it bumps down from a BGS 8.5 to a PSA 9, it's still like a pop 6. If it bumps up to a PSA 9, we're throwing a party. That's awesome because there are no PSA 10s, so obviously that would be a pretty big deal. But I just didn't really think that this had any shot at getting a PSA 9 with the damage on the back and that corner. So I figured I would give SGC a shot. And I mean, the price difference was unbelievable. I mean, it would have been like 10 times more to send this to PSA. But yeah, that's just a little bit of the rationale behind that. And, I know that from people who have a ton of experience grading with SGC, they're usually a little bit more lenient if the damage is on the back and if it's factory damage. And that was the case with this card because the front is just gorgeous. But yeah, like I said at the top, though, it's very likely that in the end, 2, 3, 5 years down the line when I decide to sell this card, it's very likely that this does end up in a PSA slab. But for now, wanted to get it slabbed, really wanted to take a shot at the Mint 9 too, and it did get a 9. So I was very, very happy with this. And this will not be leaving me anytime soon. A big LUKA guy, big LUKA believer, and yeah, just really happy to have this card in a 9. So that's going to do it. If you're interested in any of these cards, hit me up. I think that these are probably the only 2 that I wouldn't be willing to move right now. But everything else, hit me up. I'm going to put my Twitter and Instagram in the description. You can message me there. But if you're still watching, thank you guys so much for sticking it out with me and watching the whole video. Very, very excited to own all of these cards, and I appreciate you guys for watching.